Welcome to week 5 of the Advanced Sprint Distance Triathlon plan. We continue our work on building our aerobic base with some high intensity to supplement that base work. There is a small increase in volume to 14 hours and 30 minutes this week as the default volume compared to 14 hours last week. But of course, remember that you have the adjustable duration workouts, so that volume might change a bit up and down depending on how you choose to execute those workouts. There is also some small progression on some of the intense workouts, namely the bike and the swim. Where on the bike we add one more interval to each set, so it's 3 times 9 times 30 instead of 3 times 8 times 30. And on the swim it's 3 times 8 times 50 instead of 3 times 6 times 50. The run fartlek stays the same though. There's not that much additional to talk about this week compared to last week because it's more or less the same work that we're doing. Just remember to focus on the all-important fundamentals of not trying to do anything epic, just doing good training consistently day in and day out. On days when you feel tired, go easier, and when you feel good, stay disciplined. Don't push it. Don't get too close to the edge. In terms of specific workouts, just some brief reminders that might be helpful. So on the endurance work, first of all, remember that this is the most important work that you're doing. It's not necessarily the intense work, but it's all of the work together that is the most important. So nothing is more important than anything else. But if you have to put a gun to my head and tell me that I have to say what's the most important, then I would say it's the endurance work, and specifically maybe the long endurance workouts, the 3-hour ride, the 1-hour 20 run, and so on, the 3,900 meter swim. So keep that in mind in terms of how you approach those workouts. Another thing that comes up every once in a while is on the LT1 work. So remember, this is the kind of top of zone 2 work. It's better to do them easier rather than harder. Because you're not, most of you are not taking lactate samples and checking if you're really at or below LT1. So since we don't really know, we're playing with estimates here. Erring on the side of caution is better because then you still get the same training effect of being at your baseline of lactate rather than going up to a level where you start to accumulate a bit more lactate. So there's nothing wrong with keeping it on the lower end of the target power or target pace. Well, in the swim we don't really have a target pace, so it's more effort based anyway. But it's worth noting that for most athletes, even advanced athletes, LT1 is not necessarily as high power or as fast speed as we think it is. That's my experience anyway from testing and seeing tests from various athletes. Strength and conditioning wise, remember to do it. We have I haven't talked about this actually in previous weeks, but we alternate weeks of just doing shorter circuits with weeks where we have a longer circuit of 40 minutes with some kettlebell work as well, which is a really good tool to have at home. So yeah, I should have mentioned it in one of the earlier weeks actually, but yeah, this work is really good, high quality strength work. So be really focused on the strength and conditioning work. It will help you get the most out of your endurance work. It will help you stay healthy, but it will also potentially help you have a better exercise economy, so better running economy, better cycling economy or growth efficiency. So this is super important stuff. Do it with quality, do it with focus. Intense workouts, again, remember to feel like you could have done a little bit more at the end, having one or a couple of reps left in the tank when you finish the workout, pacing them well so that you don't overpace at the beginning and then fade towards the end. And then in terms of the muscle recruitment / biomechanical work, so things like our strides on the run or our hill sprints when we have them, our speed work in the pool, the fast 25s, and so on. So that kind of work, again, just another reminder that it's very important to do them with quality and also focusing on the recovery, because that's a very common mistake. People don't respect the recovery that is prescribed when for example, strides or for fast 25s in the pool, but do take too short recoveries or jog it instead of walk it and so on. Just make sure that the quality is as high as it can possibly be when you do that stride or that 25 meter speed effort. So yeah, remember that it doesn't mean that you have to kill yourself by sprinting as hard as you possibly can in terms of an exertion or effort, because that's not the point of this necessarily. and it's not prescribed as such. Most of this is prescribed more as fast, but not all out. The exception to that would be hill sprints, which I tend to prescribe a bit more all out, because the hill itself forces us to recruit a lot of muscle and produce a lot of force. But when we're talking about strides, and especially when we're talking swimming, and which is very technical, it's not about a 100% effort. It's a high effort, but it's not 100%. It's more about focused and controlled speed. So remember to do that. Don't skip it is the first step, and do it with quality is the second step to make the most out of every week. We're already in week 5. We have 17 weeks to go. But again, if you can make the most out of every single week, every single moment of training that you're doing, then the better you'll be on race day. So keep that in mind. And that's it for this week. Enjoy it, and I'll talk to you next week.